Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
For this is what the Sovereign Lord says.
Why do you need prophets to tell people who you are and what you want?
If you can justify everything that the God of the Bible has done, then you can justify any of your behavior.
A lot of this mentality is trickling into what is now mainstream right-wing Christianity.
I am capable of empathy greater than this God of the Bible.
This is a Bible that they tell kids. This is the good Lord. This is the good book. He is fantasizing about murder, mass murder.
Head over to sacrilegiousdiscourse.com right now to find out how to leave us a review or support us on Patreon.
Hey there, sinners and saints. It's your favorite Bible-bashing duo from Sacrilegious Discourse, and we need your help.
That's right, folks. We're raising funds for some heavenly equipment and a studio that doesn't sound like it's in the depths of hell.
Our current setup, let's just say it's more apocalypse than audiophile.
So if you want to hear us dissect the Bible without the background noise of demonic squirrels, chip in a few bucks.
We're aiming for $5,000 to upgrade our audio and build a studio worthy of blasphemous banter.
Donate today and help us spread the good word of atheism.
You can find a link right on our homepage, sacrilegiousdiscourse.com. Every dollar counts.
Even if it's from your collection plate. Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys.
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it. Husband!
Wife!
Do you know what today is and what the hell we're doing?
Well, today is still Saturday technically, so it's Saturday. What are we doing?
Q&A Saturday is what we're doing just now, just then,
That's
now.
right. That's right.
Yes.
So what are we Qing and Aing today?
We are going to talk a little bit more about some wailing women.
Okay.
Women who wail.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into this.
Okie dokie. Okay, before we start talking about wailing women, I have 2 notes. Okay. The first note has nothing to do with this stuff.
Perfect.
Okay?
Yeah.
I know, it's all over the place.
Sure.
Just like me.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a marginal note in the Masoretic text.
Okay.
That indicates that the middle letter of the Tanakh, which is the whole Hebrew Bible, resides within chapter 6, verse 7 of Jeremiah.
The middle letter?
The middle letter.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the very middle of
You really like talking about the middle of whatever.
They come up. It's not that I like talking about it in particular.
I personally, I don't really care. I'm like, okay, so we're halfway through again. But whatever.
These when they talk about like this is the middle of this and this is the middle of that.
Yeah.
The reason that I particularly like it is that it gives me stepping stones and kind of like a guidepost as to this is how far we've come, which means that this is how far we have to go. So that appeals to me on a personal level. But the fact of the matter is, I don't go looking for these signposts. These are things that were important to the Jews that recorded this in their books.
Got it.
So I'm bringing the information to you that was important to these people.
Okay.
Yeah. And yes, I am defending myself because like it's not just me though.
I got it.
Okay. So anyway, chapter 6, verse 7 of Jeremiah, just as a recap, goes, "As a fountain wells up with water, so she wells up with her wickedness. Violence and plundering are heard in her. Before me continually are grief and wounds."
And this is where the middle letter lays.
Yes, the very middle of the Tanakh.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Very middle.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was one of my notes.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My second note is about what we are not talking about today. Okay.
Okay.
Because we're talking about wailing women. Well, we're about to.
Yeah.
But something that kept coming up over and over again in my research was a wailing woman, which is something entirely different that we're not talking about, except that I am going to tell you what she is so that you don't get her confused with what we are talking about.
It's also biblically related?
No.
No.
So there's a legend called the Wailing Woman.
Okay.
She's typically a Mexican legend called La Llorona, and she's like, you know how there's like the story of the woman in white, like there's all these different ghost stories, right?
Right.
So she is a wailing woman, also referred to as a banshee, because she cries and wails because in a fit of despair she drowned her children.
Okay.
Because like her husband cheated on her or something.
Got it.
So she went mad and drowned her children and killed herself. And now for the rest of eternity, La Llorona is wailing. And she's referred to as the Wailing Woman. So we're not talking about her.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I had to say that because she kept coming up. And I'm like, no, I'm not looking for La Llorona. God damn it. Okay. So wailing women is what we're talking about today.
Okay. All right.
All right. So, in the ancient Near East, there was a profession, the wailing woman profession, as we know, that was passed down from woman to woman, from neighbor, woman to girlfriend. Okay?
Okay.
So, like, they were all, like, doing this together. Okay?
Got it, yeah.
And it was a guild. It was a mourners guild. And it was called the keening or weeping women, as we know in the book of Jeremiah.
Right.
Okay. They were trained and paid to perform the public ritual of funerals. So they were literally funeral directors and grief counselors.
Okay.
Okay. They like bore all these different titles.
Sure.
Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about grief as a communal activity.
Okay.
Okay.
As in ancient Jewish.
Yes.
Time.
In ancient Jewish tradition. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So grieving was a communal activity, and the wailing women led their communities in shared expressions of grief. They created space and community for the family and friends to grieve without embarrassment and to never be alone. So they could, feel safe in their grieving and put on whatever effects that they needed to.
Got it.
To display their mourning of the person who had passed. They were skilled and trained in the art of grieving, which, they considered this a skill.
Yeah.
For the community in a way that helped the community face its death, name its tragedy, and express its grief. Which I just find that so interesting.
Yeah.
Wailing women were tasked with finding the words to explain things when there were no words. They were the first to quote unquote vocalize what had happened.
Okay.
During some kind of
tragedy
or
whatever. Right. Yeah.
And so their job was to try and make sense of communal tragedy.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
The wailing women in Jeremiah played a great role that we should not overlook.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they were among the few who actually listened to Jeremiah and took the dire situation of their nation seriously by beginning to wail and lament for the tragedy that was about to befall Israel. So I kind of overlooked that when we were reading about the wailing women. Like, it didn't occur to me that as, he was saying, gather them and get them going.
Yeah.
That they actually listened to Jeremiah and started up.
Now, I do have a question. They were a guild. They were for hire. Mm-hmm. So were they listening, or was it their job to listen? That's the question I guess I would have.
Well, they had to be hired, so it was their job to listen, but they didn't necessarily. How do I want to say this?
Yeah.
So they weren't always for hire. Like, sometimes they just
They
did
were
it.
emergency response crews,
Kind
basically?
of. I mean, like, they could be available at anybody's funeral that they cared about or that made sense for them to be there.
Sure.
But also, I'm going to get into this a little bit. They were also hired to perform at funerals. So it's kind of a both and, not an either or.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
So these women walked with the body. They wept and wailed with the family. They sang and chanted hymns and psalms and laments that were composed specifically for each occasion. The wailing carried a call and response.
Okay.
Which, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
Like, they tried to get everybody involved
Group
in it.
involvement, yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, it was a community event.
Yeah.
The lead wailer, like, they had, position. There was a hierarchy.
Sure.
It wasn't just like a bunch of girls got together and cried a lot. They trained and practiced, and there was who was in charge.
To it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lead wailer would begin the wail, and the rest would respond. So, kind of like the Greek tragedy plays, where somebody would call and then the rest of the cast would respond.
Sure.
Okay. They used instruments, songs, and dances along with their voices. The length of time the professional wailers were used depended on the wealth and status of the family.
Okay.
So that's when they're hired, like if somebody was really rich or had great status, they would hire a ton of these people to come out and and wail, and that showed how loved the person was because they had money or status. So
even back then, money was important.
Always. Always.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a little dismaying.
Right.
But that doesn't take away from the fact that, these women also, it's kind of like if you know somebody who cuts hair, right? She might work in I say she, and that was very sexist. I apologize. The person who is a hairstylist might work in a salon, but might also be available to cut family members and friends' hair for free.
Right.
So that's what I mean by it was both and.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely a job. It was definitely their main occupation, but they also were available in their free time to come and go as they pleased, To measure the wealth and fame someone had achieved during his lifetime, one would only have to glance at the size of the funeral procession carrying the dead body to its final resting place. So, yeah. That kind of summarizes what you just said.
Right.
Up to dozens of wailing women followed the coffin, and they did so faking grief in a theatrical manner. Some would pull their hair out. Others would scratch their distress-stricken faces.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they got into it.
Yeah.
And this went on into the Roman Empire. And so when the Romans started doing it, the procession sometimes got so violently realistic that rules had to be implemented to bring solemnity and simplicity back to the funerals.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, damn, Romans, y'all take everything too far. I mean, right? Like, they do everything over the fucking top.
Right.
Some guilds included musicians, both male and female, but the professional mourners were almost always women.
Got it.
Like, without fail.
Sure.
If there was a male involved, it was usually a eunuch or somebody who probably today we would identify as trans or intersex.
Sure.
I'm not sure how they identified back then.
Right.
But that would have been why they were allowed to be included.
Yeah.
Wailing women were employed to shed tears, grasp the dead body with a horrified glance, or kneel beside him.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Among the tearful women following the entourage, some were responsible for raising their arms into the air with an imploring look, like, beseeching God almost.
Right.
While others buried their faces into their hands.
Got it.
So they all had a different role to play. Like, some were like the grieving and crying and mourning, and others were like begging God, how could you let this happen? And, others were just like so stricken that they were dancing around wildly. Yeah. So it was quite the display.
Sounds like it.
right? Kind of interesting, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was almost like a party, but a sad one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
speaking of which, I've always wanted that. Like one of my favorite.
You've always wanted to sit Shiva?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
One of my favorite funeral rituals is like the New Orleans like jazz procession. Party. You know, like that.
Yeah.
That to me is like
the way to go.
Yeah. Like I love that idea of that type of a ceremony.
Yeah, like a real party. Only instead of the wailing women, it would be the dancing,
and
singing,
music, and yeah.
So basically, the wailing women without the crying and wailing.
Right.
Or wailing in joy.
Sure.
In ecstasy, not like sadness and mourning and grief.
Right.
Yeah. So a similar ritual to what I just described has been traced back to the Tang Dynasty of China in 7th through 10th century AD.
Okay.
So this side of zero.
Yeah.
Like in the positive, not in the BCs.
Right.
Okay. With actors being hired to attend funerals and entertain the grieving family with historical reconstructions, staged combats, loud music, and gargantuan feasts.
And is this supposedly imported to that dynasty from, this? Was this the roots of it, or like,
I honestly
something that came about separately?
I would imagine separately, because they were even way back then still very closed off from the rest of the world.
Right.
I would just imagine that humanity over time always develops a way to deal with its
grief
dead.
And deal with all that. Yeah.
I mean, cavemen everywhere like were putting rocks on bodies all at the same time because it kept wild animals from chewing up the bones.
Sure.
And so you're going to see that even without different tribes of people having come to each other.
Right.
Right. We all develop along the same lines, if not identically, similarly at least.
Right.
So the tradition still exists in modern day China, where professional mourners continue to move the funeral's attendees to pity, performing heartbreaking lamentations about the loss in order to leave the relatives on the verge of tears. So it's still, they put on a show, a performance.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Wailing women died out in Europe, like the whole tradition of it died out in Europe, not in China, obviously,
right.
After the fall of the Roman Empire.
Okay.
But an oddly similar tradition followed in their footsteps across 18th century Europe. Funeral mutes, where people paid to display sad, grave faces at funerals, typical characters of Victorian-era England. Wearing black clothes and gloves, these professional mourners said nothing, mute.
Right.
But added by their presence to the sinister tone of the funeral procession. And I read that Dickens included a lot of these mute people, mute mourners in some of his books, like Oliver Twist, and I forget what the other one was. But anyway, he included them quite frequently in his works.
Sure.
So,
because it was something that was in society and it was something that you would see.
Yeah, and he was writing about the times as he saw them.
Right.
So, that's pretty much it for wailing women.
Okay.
And the wailing woman. Don't get them confused, guys.
I won't get them confused.
One's a ghost story and the other is an actual practice.
Got it. All right. Well, that was our Q&A for today, which means that we're doing what are we doing next?
Our book club.
Yeah. The Sacrilegious Book Club.
The Sacrilegious Book Club. That one. Sorry.
And then I think we're also going to try to do, it might be later in the day when this releases. This will be coming out, this episode will be coming out Saturday night late into Sunday.
Yeah.
The book club will be coming out Sunday morning, and then probably later we're going to try to do a Patreon episode.
Yeah.
And then I'll get the weekly wrap up out, and then on Monday we'll be back with
Jeremiah chapter 11 ?
That is correct.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys then.
Bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.